The sealant and dental dam kit are received and sorted. The sealant material and etchant are to be handed in a paper cup, and the cup is placed on the trolley. The isolate attachment is simply cleaned with a dry brush, so it's placed on the towel. The handpiece has to go into the Statmatic. It's placed on the towel at assistant number 2. The Smart Light container, the lid has been kept securely fastened on the container, so it can be placed on the trolley or in sink number 3. The cassette is placed onto the towel at station 2. And the sundries container, again, the lids are securely fastened so that the contents don't get contaminated, and it can be placed in sink 3 or on the trolley, depending on room. The isolate attachment is simply cleaned using the small brush, and you insert them into the holes just to remove debris. Rinse just to remove any dust or debris, and place it on the towel to be wrapped. The handpiece is placed in the Statmatic. The cassette is opened to ensure all contents are there. And again, if there's any sundries left in the kit, you remove them and discard them before processing in the Hydrum. Once the cassette is complete, insert it into the Hydrum, onto the rack where it fits. The impressions kit is submitted with the contaminated bowls. The cassette with the impression trays is on top of the box as well. Receive the kit and sort the items. Rubber bowls cannot go into the ultrasonic or the Hydrum, so they are manually washed. And the cassette is placed on towel number 2. And the sundries box is then placed on the trolley to be processed with the other sundries boxes. Now the bowls are manually scrubbed using any of the brushes provided in the plastic container. And then rinsed. Then you can go on to ensuring the cassette has all of the items in it before processing. So count your trays. And in this cassette, I noticed that there's 1 maxillary tray missing. Assistant number 3 will then hand assistant number 2 the tray that fits this cassette. And with it being a blue tag, and the others are blue tagged, we know this is the one that belongs in these kits. And then it can be placed in the Hydrum. Lab pans are returned to the sterilizing room with contaminated impression trays. These impression trays are placed in the pan and sprayed immediately with ET foam. And this helps remove the alginate from the trays. And then they can just sit there until you're ready to process them. The lab pan is then cleaned in the sink with the Gleam. And that's rinsed. Okay. Once the impression trays have soaked for a while, you can put them into the ultrasonic cleaner, or you simply rinse them and then insert them into the Hydrum. So we will rinse them. And once they've soaked, you actually see there's no debris left on them. So the brush is really not needed. Okay, taking the ET foam off of all of them. Now, because they're going to go into the hydrum, they don't have to be dried. They can just be placed directly into the basket in the hydrum, because the hydrum is going to clean them one more step. So take any loose impression trays and put them in the basket in the hydrum, and make sure that the basket is securely fastened. There's a tray at the back for any other instruments, and make sure that you place your cassettes in the racks according to the size of cassette and item that is going to be cleaned. Once the hydrum is full, close and lock the door, and then operate the cycle.
Hi, I'm Steve with Sycan. Today I'm going to show you how to use the hydrum instrument washer. Now the hydrum is a washer that will take the place of an ultrasonic for most instruments. What you can put into a hydrum are cassettes and loose instruments, except for burrs and other small items that could get circulated through the machine and damage it. So the big things we don't want in the hydrum are burrs, small endophiles, any interproximal wedges, things of that nature that can get into the system and damage it. So as you can see here, you'll fill your hydrum up with cassettes. You can fit the large cassettes on the top, smaller cassettes on the bottom. And then here we have a loose instrument tray and a cover tray so that any light instruments can go in here. Once you have the hydrum loaded up, you slide the tray back in and shut the door. And there is a seal you can press here, so give the door a good push. And then once the door is closed, it's ready to run. And you'll see over here on our touchpad, there's 3 different options and then the unlock button. So if you have the rinse here, the P1 rinse, if you have really bloody instruments coming out of the operatory and you're not ready to run the hydrum yet because it's not full, you can run that rinse cycle, and that will take the blood and any other debris off the instruments that it doesn't harden on there. Once the hydrum fills up and you're ready to run a cycle, if you're using cassettes, you'll want to use the P3 heavy duty wash, or if you're using loose instruments, you can just use the P2 wash. There's about a 10-minute difference between the P2 and the P3 heavy duty wash. When the screen here has the screensaver on it, just touch the screen and it'll bring up your menu options. To open the door, press the unlock button, then your door will be unlocked. Now the only daily maintenance you need to do on the hydrum is to check this screen on the bottom. I'll pull this rack out of the way so you can see it better. This screen right here collects any debris that may get trapped in the machine. So what you want to do is just pull it out once a day, keep an eye on it, and rinse it off in the sink. One of the big things is if you keep your cassettes clean before they go in here as far as garbage and debris go, you won't have a lot build up in here, but you still will need to check it. You want to make sure to have any composite wiped off the instrument tips. You want to get cotton rolls out of the cassettes, interproximal wedges, mylar tape, and any other debris that can get trapped in the hydrum and plug it up. To put this back in, you just slide it into the slot and push down on it. And that's it for daily maintenance. Now every 40 cycles or so, you're going to need to change the box of soap. So the machine comes with a box of soap. It's on this right-hand side in the drawer here. To replace the box of soap in your hydrum, take the box and peel off the tear tab at the top. Once you've done that, you can see there's a fitting in here with a cap in it. You'll want to remove the cap just by pulling it out, and then you can discard that. You won't need it. So now you've got your fitting here. The other fitting is right inside the hydrum. So this just screws on to the fitting on the box of the soap. So if you can see here, try to get my hands out of the way. You'll just rest this next to the hydrant and screw this on. Once it's on all the way, you can see that, you'll lift up the box of soap, and when you put it into the machine, just reach your hand back and make sure you don't put it on top of the tubing that's connected to it. Now when you shut the door, it should shut very positively like that. If it's rubbery at all, it's pinching the tubing, and you want to open the door back up and just clear the tubing out of the way. Now that we've shown you how to use your hydrant, I just want to touch on a couple of other things. First off, the inside of the hydrant isn't a sterile environment, and neither are the instruments that you're working with. So please wear the proper personal protective equipment when you're using the hydrant. The other thing is, the hydrant is a hot, moist environment, and if you put metal in there that isn't high quality metal, or if you leave it in there for a long time, it may corrode. So one of the first important things is to use high quality instruments. Second, after you run the hydrant, take the instruments out, or if you can't take them out right away, at least prop the door open a little bit so that the moisture can get out. Now if your hydrant builds up on the inside with some white debris, what you can do is run a cleaning cycle. It'll depend on the office how often you need to do it, but once a month is probably a good frequency to start with. What you want to do is turn the hydrant off and then back on again. Once you turn it back on, you'll see this little eye in the bottom right hand corner. Press that and it'll bring up a user menu. You click on user, and then the first option you see there is chamber cleaning. Now what that'll do is it'll just run a 10-minute cleaning cycle. What you want to do also is pour about 3 cups of vinegar into the hydrant and then run the cleaning cycle. The vinegar will remove any of the scale built up inside it, and at the end you'll be ready to run normal instrument loads through there again. Continuing on with maintenance, one of the things you'll want to do is just visually check the arms and make sure there's nothing sticking out of any of the ports. If there are, the arms won't spin. So if you see one of the 3 arms not spinning through the glass door, you'll want to make sure to check that. Now in some areas with very hard water, the machine does come with a salt packet, so this salt can be put right into this port back here on the machine. When your service tech installs the unit, have them test and see if you need to use the salt. If you do, you just uncover that opening and put the salt pellets in there right to the top. Screw the cover back on, and the machine will actually tell you when it needs to be filled with more salt. Now if you have instruments in the hydrant and the power goes out, you won't be able to touch the screen. So if you need to get the instruments out another way, this is how to do it. You'll see on the door there's a little sticker that explains it, but I'll show you here. There's one slotted screw in the front of the hydrant here. If you remove that, it'll then let you get to a pull ring, which will release the door. So just remove that one screw, and then what you'll want to do is grab the front of the door here and then pick up on it. And once you pick up, it should come free. There is a grounding cable here, so you'll want to make sure not to pull that off. But you'll see under here, this is where the ring is. And if you pull this, it'll release the door and you can open it. The other thing while I'm under here is every 18 months or so, there's a piece of tubing called the dosing pump tubing. That's a good idea to put it on your maintenance schedule to change every 18 months. If you don't change it, it could wear out and the machine will tell you it needs soap even though it has soap. That brings up one other good point. If the machine does tell you it needs soap, but there's a full box in there, make sure to reach around behind and make sure the tubing isn't kinked. If you've done that and there's still an issue, it may be the dosing pump tubing. It's an inexpensive part and it takes very little time for a service tech to change it, but that's what may need to be done. So that's it. The hydrant is very easy to use, as you can see. You just load it up and hit go basically. The nice thing about it is it's safer for the staff and it's more efficient. If you have more questions, please contact your local SciCan representative. The hydrant does have different racking options, so if you want 2 rows of cassette racks on the bottom, we can do that. Also, if you have oral surgery instruments, there's a rack for either the top or the bottom that can handle that. So if you have any questions, please call our 1-800 number. Thank you.